You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Michael Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. I'm glad that you've joined me. Today is Political Tuesday, and it's the day that I get to rant and rave, swing my arms about, act like a loony. But I'm not going to do that today because I have some things that are serious that I need to talk to you about. A few weeks ago, I did a podcast about hate, and the whole podcast was about being anti-hate, and that there's too much hate in politics, too much hate on social media, too much hate, and we've got to stop it. So what do you think happened? Well, I got a notice this morning from YouTube saying that my podcast went against their policies. Now, I don't know how a podcast against hate and how we need to simmer down and how we need to really focus on stopping the hate that's being spread out there is against their policy. I had to respond back to him. I said, "You're wrong. This was a podcast about anti-hate. It wasn't for it. It was against it." Now, I don't even think they even listened to the podcast, to tell you the truth. I think they went by the title, and I think the title was like, "Hate in Politics Have Got to Stop," or something like that. So they went. So I don't know if they're for hate. Maybe they're for hate. I don't know. But they deleted my podcast. And I think that it's going just a little bit too far when they go on assumptions only. And they really don't listen to the podcast. Podcast is what, 10, 15 minutes long? How long is it going to take them to listen to it and find out that it is really against hate? I think we have to be very careful about social media now because they seem to have their own moral structure. And their moral structure is not all that great. Because if an individual is speaking out about hate, they should be able to speak out about hate. And in all my podcasts I have that are political, I always talk about how we need to stop this hate because it's doing so much damage to our nation. But YouTube, now I don't know what Facebook is going to do, and I don't know what these other companies are going to do, social media companies are going to do, because I talk about this a lot. I do not like hate. I think it's done a tremendous amount of damage to our nation, and it continues to do. We have Antifa marching in the streets, attacking people, and now Republican demonstrators I saw one the other day where they attacked back because they just had enough. At some point in time, this hate that we have built up in politics is going to do someone harm, and someone's going to get killed by it. And so I've always talked, and my messages have always been, we've got to stop this hate message. We have a lot of political issues that we can talk about, but we can also agree to disagree, and we don't have to get mad at each other and start calling people names and start calling them racist and all these other things. This hate has got to stop. If you want to talk to me about a political issue, talk to me about it. I'll be more than happy to talk to you. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to do that. But I will point out data, because I think that any time that you're going to get into an argument or into a discussion instead of an argument, that you are well prepared to discuss whatever that discussion is about. So you have to have your data prepared. But once you start losing an argument, you don't start calling people names. You just walk away and say, okay, we'll approach this again later, and let's see if we can come to a middle ground that we both can agree on. So to YouTube, and I say this directly to the people at YouTube, my podcast was not about creating anger or creating hate. My podcast and all my podcasts, I always preach, I always deliver a message against hate. So you are wrong, YouTube, for taking that podcast off the air. But that's your decision. If you want to go against hate, and if you want to promote hate, that's your decision. That's your freedom of speech. But I, as an independent American, spoke out against hate. And I should not be the one that's punished because you disagree with me. So that is the first rant that I have. I am learning how to rant very well. It seems to come professionally to me. Do you know that the highest rating that I get, the highest number of listeners, is always when I talk about politics. When I talk about business and taxes, people kind of zone out. But that's okay. I understand sometimes I zone out when I talk about taxes and business. You know, I love business and taxes. I mean, when I was a young kid, I knew that I was going to be in business. And so it's always been in my heart and it's always been on my mind. Now, I get excited about business. But when you have to explain tax issues or business issues to people, I can honestly, I can almost hear you snoring. So I'm beginning to wonder if I should give you a little stimulant, like some Coca-Cola or something, or Pepsi to get you your minds and thought process zooming along with me. But it hasn't happened so far. I can hear you snoring, so don't tell me you're not snoring, because when I'm talking about taxes, I know that you're snoring. Anyway, that is life, isn't it? Now, the other issue. Let me tell you, the Lodge family has been in Massachusetts for a long, long time. It used to be that way back in the 30s and 40s, there was a statement that was always made that said, listen, if you want to talk to God, you have to go through the lodges. And that was what was said in Massachusetts, especially in Boston. So it really hurts my heart when I see Elizabeth Warren and I see her out there trying to be an Indian. I used to know people like this in college. It always amazed me. There was this one very, very white guy. I mean, he was whiter than anything. And his name was an American name, but he would never go by his American name. He was, my name is Guillermo, and he would always have this Mexican accent to it. And he was trying so hard to be something that he wasn't. And all of us around him, as we watched him, and by the way, he had been in college like for 7 years. Okay, so that's how long. I don't know if he had just become a professional college goer or if he really was trying to be Hispanic. But that is how he acted. And that kind of reminds me of what Elizabeth Warren is trying to act as, is that she's trying to be something that she's not. And she's used it throughout her life to do all these different things. I think that by doing this does a lot of harm. And I can understand why the Indian nations are upset with her, because she's trying to be something that she's not. And she's making this into this really bad political fight with the president just because she's trying to be Indian. Does she not understand that this nation has a lot of issues? And so far, she has done nothing for the state of Massachusetts. Nothing. And you have to take into consideration after a while. You have to think this process through, especially if you're listening to me in Massachusetts, in Boston. I want you to understand that being a senator is a job of responsibility, not a job of being almost a clown almost and trying to be something that you're not. If you want to do something for your state, you work hard for your state. If you want to do something for Massachusetts, you don't continually bash and attack the president. What does that do for her state? Not one damn thing. So we have got to realize as citizens and as Americans that when we put people in office, we expect them to do their job, not act like an idiot. Which means that if you have been elected to serve the people, that means you represent the people and you represent their needs. A good need that you should be focusing on is the 700,000 homeless children that we have in America, but you don't pay any attention to that because you are so wound up in your hate for the president. So this is what I mean, is that we have so much hate that it is at the top of politicians' lists, this hate, instead of doing what is needed for the people that voted them into office to represent their needs. Not her political needs, but the people's needs. So we've got to get away from this hate because it's doing so much damage and it's causing so much waste of time that nothing really gets done. No one reaches across the aisle and say, hey, listen, can you work with me on this bill so that we can help these 700,000 homeless American children? They don't do it. And this has got to happen on the left and the right, okay? You both have got to start working together. Get rid of this hate, get rid of this animosity, get rid of this political sociology, not sociology, that was the wrong word, socialist view, and start getting back to what the core values of what America is really about. That's what Americans want, and that's what we demand of you when we vote you into office. If you're not going to do that, then it's probably time for you to leave, because hate has put you into overdrive on hate and not about the needs of the people of the United States. I think that that's why we'll leave it today. I'm only going to rant and rave about two things. But I want to leave this into your heart, is that we are an America that is filled with love. I mean, we love helping people. When people are hit by a hurricane or a tropical storm that destroys everything that they have, Americans are right there to take care of their needs. Well, that should be the same thing that's happening in the Congress and Senate, is that there's a lot of things that need to happen in America. But if you don't pull together and work together, nothing is going to get done. Now, I encourage each and every single one of you. By the way, I voted yesterday, and I was so proud of it. I took a picture of my voting thing, and I was so proud that I voted. And in California, there were a lot of things to vote on. I mean, a lot of things. And some of them, I was wondering, why are we even voting on this? One of them was to change daylight savings time in California. But I voted, and I want each and every single one of you to really think about what is the best for America, what is best for your state, what is best for your communities. I want you to vote. And I want you to vote for people who are going to add value to our lives, add value to our nation's capital, add value to our school districts, add value to our county, add value to the judgeships that are up for vote. There are so many things that we're voting on. But I want you to vote. I want you to get out there and be a real good American and vote. Do it, okay? I encourage you. I voted yesterday. I'm very happy with my vote. A little concerned, though, and I'll tell you the reason why, is that in California, we have Gavin Newsom, which is a very liberal Democrat, and then we have John Cox, who is a Republican. Now, here's my issue, is that I voted for John Cox because there needs to be change in California. But the problem is that I have not seen or heard or seen anything about John Cox. You would think that if you're running for a governorship, that you would be out there. You would see something on him every single day. I'm even a member of his Facebook page. I never see anything. Nothing gets sent over to me. So I do not know what's going on. But I voted for him anyway because I felt that Gavin Newsom was the wrong direction for the United States. If you look at our fiscal solvency in California, we are rated 42nd, which means that we are not managing our financial obligations in the state well enough. If you're 42nd out of 50, you're doing something really bad. Especially when you brag about that you have the fifth world's economy and you can't even manage your own financial affairs as a state. So I don't feel that Gavin Newsom is the right person for them for that job as governor because he has not proved himself as a mayor of San Francisco who encouraged Sanctuary City, as a lieutenant governor who encouraged a sanctuary state, and who helped bring our state into fiscal nonsense. So that's why I didn't vote for him. I really feel that there needs to be a change. But my gosh, if I can't see my candidate, excuse me, if I can't see my candidate out there campaigning, there's an issue. So John Cox, if you're listening to me, excuse me, I am sorry about that. If John Cox is out there listening to me, I need to see more of you. What are you doing? That's it for today. I'm done. Those of you who want to rant and rave to me, send me an email at mlodge@lodge-co.com and I will respond to you. Visit my website at www.lodge-co.com and learn what my firm is all about and what we can help you. We do a lot of business coaching. So call me. 888-681-1518. I'll talk with you soon. Everybody have a great Tuesday. It's Political Tuesday. Remember, get out there and vote. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com. and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
World of Business and Taxes on WBT.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518. Or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.